Hello and welcome to another lecture in the series of covering environmental science comprehensively from civil services point of view and other government examinations. In this video, we will be talking about sulfur and the sulfur cycle as a nutrient cycle. Okay, and to start with, sulfur cycle, it is a sedimentary cycle. We saw that there are two types, sedimentary and gaseous. So sulfur is a sedimentary type. Okay, now sulfur is found in both as organic and it is also found in inorganic sources. The organic sources are coal or oil and such sources, and inorganic sources are rocks, meteorites, sulfates, and sulfide. So, this is how sulfur is found both in organic and inorganic sources. Now, moving on, we see sulfur cycle. Now, how does the sulfur cycle, how that from the physical environment enters the living beings and then it again goes back to the physical environment. So that is said to be sulfur cycle. Now, the volcanic eruptions and the withering of rocks, these give rise to the sulfur. Okay, volcanic eruptions and weathering of rocks release sulfur, and that sulfur, when it is present in the atmosphere, it travels with the wind and other factors. Okay, and it eventually reaches the plants. Now, plants absorb the sulfur. Okay, and those plants, when consumed by the animals or the living beings, that sulfur is taken up by the living beings. Okay, and that sulfur is eventually employed in the formation of proteins and the nucleotides in the body. Okay, now eventually when the excretion or the decomposition of the body takes place, that means the death and decay of a human body or the animal body takes place. That is when the bacteria which are present there, they form the dihydrogen sulfide. Okay, hydrogen sulfide is formed, and that when oxidized gives rise to the sulfur dioxide. So that is how the sulfur is formed back and it is given back into the atmosphere. This is how the sulfur enters and then via plants and animal beings, and after death and decay or decomposition, it comes back to the atmosphere. All right, so this is how the sulfur cycle looks like. Now, there are different anthropogenic factors which give rise to the sulfur production. Okay. Now, what is anthropogenic factors? Those are caused by the humans. So, the various anthropogenic factors are vehicular emission. Whenever we drive a vehicle, and the emission out of that vehicle also gives rise to the sulfur. Fossil fuel burning is another example. The construction activities and the mining, that also gives rise to the sulfur. And also industrial emission, which gives out the flue gas, that also consists of sulfur. So that is how these are the various anthropogenic factors which are caused by humans give rise to the sulfur and the sulfur compounds. Okay, now what does the excessive sulfur cause and what are the different impacts of excessive sulfur? The first stop is air pollution. This is AQI, air quality index. There is something said to be air quality index, which measures how pure or impure any air in the atmosphere is there, or any locality, how pure is the air. So AQI gives a measure to that. So whenever sulfur is present in high amount, that gives rise to high AQI, and that is the impurity. So more the sulfur, more the impurity is present in the atmosphere. The other thing is smog. The fog plus smoke, it gives out smog and it looks something like this. It is prevalent in the Delhi regions. And the third impact we'll talk about is acid rain. The acid rain, which has lesser pH than that of water, a pH of water is around 7, and lesser than 7 will be considered acidic. So when sulfur is mixed with the water, it gives rise to the sulfuric rain. It forms actually sulfuric acid. Okay. Now when acid rain takes place, sulfuric acid, it reacts with the calcium carbonate. Here we can see the example of Taj Mahal. Now Taj Mahal, it is made of calcium carbonates. It is made with the marbles and it consists of calcium carbonate. Now calcium carbonate when reacts with the acid rain, which is also sulfuric acid, and when it reacts with that, it gives out a pale and lusterless outcome. So that is why the Taj Mahal is getting pale day by day, and government is trying to take measures with respect to this. So this is what excessive sulfur causes. Now there are different steps that are taken by the government so as to contain the sulfur pollution. Those are installation of flue gas, which is flue gas, various steps which are taken by the government, which is installation of flue gas desulfurizer that will separate or will reduce the quantity of sulfur which is present in the flue gas which is given out in the atmosphere. And there is also something called as odd even rule in Delhi, which will give us to reducing the air pollution because of reducing the number of vehicles running per day in Delhi region. So these are the various steps which are taken to contain the sulfur pollution. Okay, so this is how we talked about, this is all we talked about the sulfur cycle in this video, and I have got you a previous year question. So I would request you guys to pause the video and then attempt the question and comment down the answer. Also, if you have any doubt, you can comment that below and I will be happy to help you with that. And for if you like the video, please hit a thumbs up and subscribe for more such lectures. I will see you in the next one. Thank you.